Welcome to the first weekly deep dive session on inner dialogue, the first aid kit for your mind. Let me ask you a simple question. If you accidentally cut your finger today, what would you do? You would probably wash the wound, apply an antiseptic, put on a bandage, and make sure it heals properly. Because all of us know one thing: physical wounds need first aid. But let me ask you one more question. What do you do when someone hurts you with their words? When you experience rejection? When you fail? When someone you trusted breaks your heart? When life doesn't go the way you expected? Most of us quietly say, I'm okay. Are we really? Today, I would like to introduce you to something that changed the direction of my own life. I call it the first aid kit for your mind. The strange thing about emotional wounds is that nobody can see them. If I walk into the room with my hand in a bandage, everyone immediately understands I'm injured. But if I walk in carrying the self doubt, fear, guilt, or loneliness, nobody notices. Sometimes not even I notice it. And yet, those invisible wounds slowly begin changing something much more important than our mood. They begin changing the conversation we have with ourselves. That conversation is what I call inner dialogue. Hey, I would like to share something personal. Many years ago, while working in the corporate world, I experienced one of the proudest moments of my career. Among employees from across India, I was honored as the outstanding employee of that year. I was genuinely happy. Who wouldn't? I believed this was the beginning of the next chapter of my career. But when the next opportunity came, I wasn't selected for the higher position. One of the reasons given was my English communication wasn't considered strong enough for that role. I still remember what happened after that. The rejection hurt, but it wasn't the biggest pain. The biggest pain was what I started saying to myself later. I said, maybe I'm not good enough. What will my colleagues think? Maybe I don't deserve to grow. Nobody else was saying those words anymore. I was. Slowly, I stopped seeing myself the way I used to. Looking back today, I realized something important. The biggest wound wasn't professional, it was psychological. And at that time, I didn't even know my mind needed first aid. That experience changed my life. It led me to study psychology, human behavior, counseling, psychometric testing, and many more in human development. And eventually, it led me to write this book, Inner Dialogue. Because I realized something: what happens to us is important, but what we begin saying to ourselves after it happens often changes the direction of our life. Years later, I realized something even more important. I wasn't alone. Many professionals were going through this phase. Not only that, very recently we also heard the accomplished people like cricketer Jemima Rodriguez, actor Deepika Padukone, Virat Kohli speak openly about their own emotional struggles. Different professions, different journeys, one common truth: success does not protect us from emotional pain. Pain doesn't discriminate. It visits students, parents, professionals, business owners, leaders, actors and athletes too. The question isn't will emotional wounds uh, happen? The question is what do we do when they happen? Here is something I find very fascinating. Most of us know basic first aid for our body. If someone is bleeding, we help. If someone faints, we respond. If someone gets burned, we act immediately. We know what to do. But when our confidence gets hurt, when guilt stays with us, when fear quietly becomes part of our identity, we do something very different. We ignore it, we suppress it, we distract ourselves. We keep working, we keep smiling, we keep telling ourselves it'll pass, it's okay. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it quietly becomes the voice inside our head. The World Health Organization introduced an important concept called psychological first aid. The purpose is not to diagnose people, the purpose is to help them feel safe, calm, supported, and capable of taking the next step. When I first understood this concept, one question stayed with me. If we know how to offer psychological first aid to someone else, why don't we offer it to ourselves? That question eventually became foundation of inner dialogue. People, rather my clients often ask me, so where do we begin? My answer surprises them. Don't begin by changing your thoughts. Begin by noticing them. Suppose your manager criticizes your presentation and within seconds your mind says, I think I'm not good enough. Hmm, I think I don't deserve this job. Something is wrong with me. And most of us immediately believe that sentence. Instead, pause. Take one slow breath and simply say, hey, interesting. That is what I'm telling myself right now. Notice what just happened. The thought is still there, but something has changed. You are no longer completely inside that thought, you are observing it. That small shift is the beginning of inner dialogue. So, this week, I don't want you to become positive. I don't want you to fight your thoughts. I don't want you to pretend everything is fine. I only want you to notice whenever life becomes emotionally difficult, ask yourself one question. What sentence am I repeatedly saying to myself right now? Write it down. Don't judge it. Don't correct it. Just notice it. Because awareness always comes before change. So, I would like to leave you with one final thought. Your goal is not to eliminate every negative thought. Your goal is to stop allowing those thoughts to speak without your awareness, because the conversation you have with yourself today gradually becomes the life you create tomorrow. That's why I believe your mind deserves first aid. In our next module, we will explore another important question. If success feels so good, why do so many successful people still feel unfulfilled? Until then, take care of your body, but don't forget to take care of your mind, because every revolution begins in the conversation you are having with yourself.